all that excitement. So we've asked ITV business editor Laura Kunsberg to get down to her nearest confectioners and give us a roundup of the week.
Excuse me, Ed. I was first. Give up, Gideon. You're always trying to get the sweets first.
Calm down, boys. If, back in the day, little Gideon Osborne and little Edward Balls had known each other, they would have argued over the sweets after school. Of course, while times have changed, maybe the arguments haven't so much. The Treasury is now the sweet shop they both want to run, although at the moment it's little Gideon who's in charge. Of course, it was George, since he's renamed himself, who had the pleasure of giving the country his fourth budget this week. And fair to say, the nation's sweetie jar is looking pretty empty.
Cover it with chocolate and a miracle to the candy man.
George had to read out a set of nasty economic forecasts. Growth halved, the missing of the debt target, borrowing just down on one measure, but up on another. But none of that convinced him to take some other people's advice, to borrow just that little bit more to make the economy a bit more tasty.
Oh, the candy man can.
And today I'm going to level with people about the difficult economic circumstances we still face and the hard decisions required to deal with them. It is taking longer than anyone hoped, but we must hold to the right track.
It was probably enough to make anyone choke.
Listen to music.
George, have one of these.
Makes the world taste good.
Sadly, there wasn't very much money for George to spend on any goodies, but he did manage to squeeze a bit of cash from day-to-day spending to come up with some treats.
A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
Cutting a penny off the pint of beer, scrapping a petrol tax rise, and lots of help for those who want to buy a home. But this was ignored by Ed Miliband, who gave a sugar rush performance.
Today, Mr. Deputy Speaker, the Chancellor joined Twitter. He could have got it all into 140 characters. Growth down, borrowing up, families hit, and millionaires laughing all the way to the bank. Hashtag downgraded Chancellor.
Well, he was never going to like it. But in truth, it was probably a difficult hand, politically well played. But there was nothing in it that will really tip the scales and give the economy a drastic shove.
I'm going to have my favourite parody stuff. Sherbet Kit Kats. I don't have any money left. I raided a piggy bank. Look, Ed, I've told you before, you should not spend all your money on sweets. It's best to save. Saving? That's for rich.
You wouldn't want to be a saver in Cyprus, where I hear they've been stockpiling the halva. But that won't distract from the fact that the government might take cash straight from savers' bank accounts as part of the EU bailout. We have thousands of troops and expats who live there. The PM has sought to sweeten the pill.
First of all, on the issue of anyone who is in Cyprus because they've been sent there by the British government in the armed forces, in the MOD or the Foreign Office, we've absolutely guaranteed that they won't in any way lose out in terms of their earnings or their savings. That is the first thing to say. We've also made sure that money will be available, which is why a plane with money was sent to Cyprus last night.
We should be all right, officials claim. Cyprus, they insist, is a special case. But the troubled Eurozone's pesky problems just keep piling up.
You are my candy girl.
It seemed for ages there would never be agreement on the giant gobstopper that was Leveson. Cross-party talks were off, then on, then off, then on again, going on all night in Ed Miliband's office. Oliver Letwin was there in his yellow trousers with his friend Nick Clegg and 4 members of Hacked Off. In the end, there will be a royal charter backed by law to protect victims of the press. And Ed Miliband wasn't shy about suggesting he'd been at the centre of things.
Today, we break the pattern of decades and decades, where politicians promised to act on wrongdoing by the press and failed to do so.
Listen to him, you'd think it was all sweetness and light. But not all the papers have decided whether or not to sign up, and those who won't are venomous in their attacks.
There are very, very respected voices saying freedom of expression of the press is important and this does threaten it. Index on Censorship said that today. These aren't bonkers right-wing lunatics all saying the same thing. They're saying you've got to watch this.
So with politicians and the press a long way from playing nicely and nothing this week to make the economy more appetising, perhaps we should all be grateful to get our hands on any goodies and be thankful our politicians are so grown up they've got the right attitude to dealing with it all.
She's still in that shop eating, you know. Business editor Laura Kunsberg at Sugar Sin in Covent Garden. We're joined by Gillian Tett of the Financial Times. Welcome back to This Week, Gillian.